stuff when you're on your own.
Yeah.
But to go in there in the trenches, and I think that was probably the difference with Kilkenny tonight. Last week, Waterford outmuscled them in all those 50-50 battles. Tonight, there was a swarm of Kilkenny defenders hunting that ball. They hunted it down several times. Waterford didn't get a second on the ball.
Tight hurling, there was no space, you know, and you had to earn every ball you got, and that's championship hurling.
Yeah.
It is indeed. We take a short pause from events here.
But what an enthralling game. But you know, Kilkenny had, I suppose, they had the guile, I suppose, in the end. You know, the little bit of composure. Richie Hogan, you know, he got on the ball a number of times. I think Waterford need to get Austin Gleeson on the ball in the middle of the field where he could stuck the ball over the bar. They failed to do that. But as Eddie Brennan said there, they'll learn a lot from tonight. But an intriguing game, and I think Kilkenny will be all the better for as they move into the All-Ireland final.
Well, I suppose the thing about it is that when you lose or win an epic battle like that, it's, as you guys were saying earlier on, it's always the little things that count. But one big thing for me, Ken, was the scores that Kilkenny got at the start of the second half, because when everything needed to be kind of ding-dong, they were just putting a little bit of gap with Waterford.
Yeah, look, we said it at half-time, we knew Kilkenny for the first 10 minutes are going to up it. The problem is, we all know it's going to happen.
How do you stop it? Of course, yeah.
And I think they got 3 or 4 points. The opposite happened last Sunday. I think Waterford got 3 or 4 points and put us 5 or 6 points up. And there's some great scores. And it was a difference really in the end, in a game that every ball mattered, and there was only, as Gerard said, a game of inches. The 3 or 4 points they got, I think, into the 45th minute, it proved the difference in the end, you know. And we were always trying to claw it back. Obviously we lost a small bit of composure maybe after the first middle part of the second half, and then the last 10 minutes again we roared back into it, and just Colin Fennelly who had a brilliant game and caused chaos all day long. In all fairness, as Eddie said, at times he's much maligned, but that was to produce performance of that Northern semi-final was massive, you know. And as I said, we're devastated them off, but hats off to Kilkenny. They're winners. They're what we're all trying to achieve. And we're trying to emulate, and we look up to them. But it's what they have to do in the last 15, 16 years is incredible.
Oh, no doubt.
And the hunger's still there. You see, Marty's a brave man, but saying one of the things that Brian Cody.
And he has experience.
He has. Fair play to him. But see the passion still on the pitch there, and we showed passion as well. And we stood up to Kilkenny and stood up to Brian as well. That's what it's about. That's what hurling's all about, and that's proper championship hurling. And for us to be involved in that, we'll only move on from it.
Let's look at another one of those marginal things in it, Eddie. This was. Well, it was almost too much to ask for another cliffhanger, but that, of course, is exactly what we got in Semple Stadium last night. Tomás Mulcahy, it was one of those occasions where, and it was a long day in Thurles with the two Camogie semi-finals as well, but you were praying for extra time, even though we'd probably have been there till midnight at the end of it.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Michael. And to be fair to the two Camogie matches, they set the trend for the afternoon, going to extra time as well, and brilliant contest. But when it came around and you see the lights going on in Thurles, 30-odd thousand people, they're in close to the ground. Brendan Cummins mentioned that there was championship hurling on the field of play, but it was also championship hurling on the sideline as well. I think some fellas were hoping they'd like to be left off. It had everything that you could ask for in a contest. We thought last Sunday was good. Yesterday was Saturday was absolutely brilliant. Yesterday, I mean, it was incredible, and like you see it. Okay, now the dirty stroke on the field of play. Yeah, you could say, or even off the field of play as well. And even in that skirmish there at the end, you can actually see there's a smile in Brian Cody's face as he walks away, right? You know, and that's the respect that they have for each other. I'm sure Waterford and Kilkenny, and they bring the best out of each other, right? That's what championship is all about, isn't it? Absolutely. And you take the likes of Derek McGrath there, and you can see it in his face, and the Waterford people coming out, and even the neutrals so disappointed for Waterford because they played so well in the game, and they just came up against a team that just have never say die attitude. I mean, they just kept floundering on all day long and got crucial scores when it mattered most. They did. Let's look at the detail of the game, Ger, because the thing is, like, Brian Cody would have known that last Sunday they could have been beaten by Waterford. Now, they did well to get themselves out of a tight situation, but he knew he was going to have to do something to face up to this replay.
Well, what surprised me was when the team was announced first that it was the same team, but it changed completely by the time we got to Thurles.
Yeah.
The big trick was, of course, that he put his big men out in the half-forward line, and inside he kept Colin Findlay, and he pulled a new cat out of the bag in Liam Blanchfield. and it worked an absolute treat for them. You know, that he has done this so often. He has done the expected so often.
Absolutely.
Now, look at the two
Walter
goals
Walsh a couple of years ago.
And look at Walter, the part that Walter played in that. You know, the composure that Walter has got from his experience over the last 3 or 4 years. But Finlay was the star last night, Colin Finlay, and brilliant for him because things hadn't been going well for him up to that. Not alone that he scored the two goals, but he had a huge part in many of the other scores as well. There for Larkin and also for Liam Blanchfield, and I'm sure he was a great help for Blanchfield inside. Now, for a young lad to come in, 20 years of age, in his first game, this is another Walter Welsh thing. He can do this with players. Brian Cody, he can do it, and he puts faith in them, and invariably they repay their faith. And to show such composure for a lad that's just after 2 years ago we saw him in the minor final here in Croke Park.
Yeah.
But, you know, what Cody did tactically was just unbelievable. You know, they were outfought in the middle third the first day. So what did he do? He puts Larkin, Finlay and Walsh, 3 massive men in the half-forward line. His 2 best hurlers, which are really forwards, he puts them into the midfield. And they withdraw out the field, close down their defence, and they let the ball in, trying to get Colin Finlay one-on-one with the Waterford full-back, something nobody else has achieved, but Cody did. There's just no limit to what that man can do, and he does it when he's really needed for Kilkenny.
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? We talked to us about the match we've just seen in Croke Park today, and in tight games like that, it's about the margins. And last night for you, there were a couple of minutes as well that were critical in this game.
Yeah, we always speak about Kilkenny about the period after half-time.
Yeah.
But yes, in this game, 34 minutes, 40 seconds gone, the match was 2-7 each. Waterford had recovered from the goals that were scored, got themselves back into the game. And like people look at Kilkenny and say they don't do defensive. Here's Owen Larkin way back in fence, Padraig Walsh, they worked the ball through the channels and into Michael Finlay. And this is a fantastic score to put him a point up. TJ Reid, I think just before that, had got a free to put him, that was 2 points up to put him a point up. Here are the numbers that are back. They crowded out the middle of the field. They didn't let the runners from Waterford to go through. And when the ball breaks, they're really, really attacking. There's plenty to learn in that from everybody. When you get back, you've got to get forward as well. And here, on the outside here, is Richie Hogan. Fantastic ball inside. And look who's out on the outside, Walter Welsh. And this guy doesn't get half the credit he should get, really, to be honest with you. I think he's been the player of their championship for Kilkenny. When things were going really, really bad, this guy has stood up. And yesterday, he laid on goals there, and the score that he got was absolutely fantastic. And that was a crucial period for Waterford to go 3 points down when they were nearing at the end of the half, and then after half-time, I think Kilkenny added on 2 points to go 5 points ahead. So they had a bit of a comeback to come back, and all happened within a couple of minutes.
It did, and the thing is, like afterwards, Ger, all the neutrals are saying what an epic game it was, and praise for Waterford even in defeat. But as Tomas was saying, Waterford going home on the bus last night would have to accept that they did come up short.
That's the problem. They're just coming up that little bit short, and you know, it was 45 minutes before they brought on Maurice Shannon, and when they brought him on, he won the very first ball in the air. They were 5 points down at this stage now, and the game was slipping for them. He won the first ball, he turns. Look at inside him. There's nobody. You know, when men should be driving forward, a perfect chance there for the overlap, nobody there. This is what happened to them in the drawing game as well in Croke Park. Whatever, they have a tendency to withdraw way back too far. That's why they went. You're right, Tomas. You know, they were 3 points up. Then they, by half-time, they were 3 points down. Then they were 5 points down. Morris comes on, an ideal chance, and there was a 15-minute period there when they were completely on top. You know, Kilkenny didn't score for 18 minutes. Now, they brought on Tom Devine then, and then they put 2 into the full forward line, and the game changed around completely. And they drew level, you know, and it was then, you know, Blanchfield again, he caught the ball in the edge of the square, young lad again. Now, that's where they lacked the cutting edge. They had nothing like Finlay and Blanchfield. They had nothing like that. They need to develop players in there. You know, the Bennetts will come in time. Patrick Curran will come in time. They just have to be patient. They need to get that little bit stronger, a bit more time.
Well, they do, because the other side of it is, Tomas, like after the match last night, I was talking to Ken McGrath, and I was making the point to him that the team that he was on, the John Millans, Tony Browns, all of those fellas, when they all slipped away, we thought it would take Waterford maybe 10, 15 years to find the next group of players. But they have positives to look to.
An awful lot of positives, Michael. An awful lot of good things are happening in Waterford, particularly around the age level as well, and the under-21 team going pretty well as well. And like, this is the first half. I mean, this is Austin Gleeson playing at centre forward. What a magnificent goal! I mean, this guy is just top class. I mean, for a young guy, 21 years of age, 20 years of age, it's a super strike into the back of the net, and that was a really great start. And I just didn't see enough of this, Michael. I think in the first day above in Croke Park, they did a lot of this in the first half, getting the ball inside and really tested that Kilkenny full back line. And Jake Dillon, what a goal. I mean, we saw goals of exceptional quality. And here, look, I mean, yesterday we're talking about the physicality, but look at the skill levels, look at the high fielding. Guys, I mean, we're often seeing Kilkenny guys, Tommy Walsh and these guys going up doing this, and Waterford now have perfected this. It was absolutely fantastic. And Austin Gleeson, look at this for a score. Touch off the ground like Chunky O'Brien from Kilkenny in his heyday as well, and over the bar. And I mean, there's an awful lot of positives. There's a bit to learn there, right, you know, and kind of yesterday, Tyg de Borca was probably most used to doing sweeper. He was a centre-back, and kind of, at centre-back you need to be a man marker. Richie Hogan, when he went to centre-forward, just dropped off him on a couple of occasions and ends up getting 4 points. But look, I think they can be very, very happy going forward that there is something there, and they just got to build on it, move on.
Yesterday, they showed they have the character. Yeah. That's the one thing that's the hardest to find in any team. Now they have the character. They have the leaders all the way up along the field. It's just that area from the 45 in, they must solve that problem.
Well, there was one thing there's no doubt about. It was tough on the field last night. It was tough on the sideline, as we saw as well. And it was a tough game, presumably, Tomas, to referee.
Yeah, I was coming out after the game, Michael. I was nearly accosted by certain individuals from Kilkenny and from Waterford as well on the referee, because look, it's a difficult game. I mean, Kilkenny were screamed that was a free out, pull on the arm of Paul Murphy. Some referees are going to give him, some referees won't give them. But I'm going to highlight this one again. And look, this caused most of the friction on the sideline. Yes. To me, that's not a free. I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder. We saw today in Croke Park the effort with Pádraig Maher and Joe Canning, and there was no free given. It was a sideline ball to Kilkenny. Here we see, look, everybody is in the play. Murray Shannon is in there. He's kind of being pushed in underneath the ball and stuff like that. And the referee gives a free out for leaning on the ball. I thought it was a harsh decision, being honest with you. This one, no doubt about it, Waterford guys were giving out. And this is the final one. Everybody said, oh, he took 10 steps here. When you see it again, wall to wall, hand back to Hurling. But for me, this is the moment of the weekend. Look at this. This was going over for an equaliser. Look where his hand is. Yeah. It's up over the crossbar. Look where his feet are, jumping from a standing position. And you were saying the referee was going to blow that. To me, that was... Yeah. It was the moment of the weekend that finished the game on a massive, massive high.
It was a free. It was a free.
Oh, it was a free. It was a free. No doubt about it. The referee made the right decision. Walter Walsh caught the hurley and pulled it back, even though he did take a lot of steps.
I actually think, Tomas, that the standard of refereeing was never higher. Yeah. You know, that there are 4 outstanding referees there. You know, James Owens, another great, Brian Gavin, Barry Kelly today. You know, in a game of that savage physicality.
Well, that's the point. You're refereeing games of that kind of pace.
If you blew for everything, everybody would be complaining, saying, oh, what is he doing? He's ruining. He's looking for the limelight.
I've always said that the referee is probably the bravest man on the pitch.
There will always be mistakes, and we will always speak. You know, people say that you will be critical, but I think the standard generally of refereeing is really, really good.
And another thing is, at the end of all that, it means that we now have the pairings, of course, for this year's All-Ireland Hurling Final. It